Hey guys, this video I made for my psychology class, and as such I didn't really use any outside articles from it, so I'll be leaving the Amazon link to the textbook that I used in the description down below. Anyway, enjoy! Hey guys, my name is Thomas Nguyen, and for my character diagnosis I chose Guts from Berserk. Berserk is originally a manga written by Kentaro Miura. It's one of the longest running manga, beginning with its first publication in 1989, and it's still being written today. I chose this series in particular because of its influence on other pieces of media. Its dark/horror themes and designs have influenced other manga, anime, and even video games since its first publication. Before beginning this assignment, I had never read or watched anything about Berserk. I had only heard about it from my friends and people talking about it on social media, so I had no idea what to really expect going into this assignment. I chose the character Guts from Berserk in particular because he's the main protagonist, so it would be easiest to find evidence of a mental disorder since a majority of the story is written in his perspective. I want to take a pause here just to give a trigger warning. Once again, Berserk contains very, very dark subject matter. If you are sensitive to things like gore, mutilation, and rape, please do not watch this video. Berserk follows the story of Guts, a man on a quest for revenge. After saving his best friend Griffith from certain death, Griffith sacrifices everyone Guts knew and loved to be eaten by demons. Griffith did this in order to become the demon god Femto. Guts and his girlfriend Casca survived despite being branded for sacrifice. However, they didn't get away unscathed. Guts lost his hand and his left eye, while Casca lost her mind. Guts, angered by Griffith's betrayal, seeks to hunt and destroy Griffith for what he did to Casca and his loved ones. However, he's still branded to be sacrificed to the demons, and as such, he is hunted by demons whenever the sun goes down. I'm sorry if I've already lost you, but there's a lot of lore and it would take way too long to cover the details. The story has two distinctly different parts, before and after Griffith's betrayal. Because Guts changed significantly after the betrayal, it was a bit difficult to discern one mental disorder. However, I believe Guts has antisocial personality disorder. Antisocial personality disorder, or ASPD, is a conduct disorder. Those with ASPD have trouble forming positive relationships with other people, tend to violate major social norms, values, and rights of others, and tend to focus on their own personal desires or pleasures. People with ASPD also tend to be impulsive and take chances with no concern for danger. ASPD tends to show in childhood, likely as a conduct disorder. Genetics have some influence on antisocial behaviors. In twin studies, identical twins showed a concordance rate of 50% for antisocial behaviors compared to non-identical twins, which showed a concordance of 20%. In adoption studies, the criminal records of adopted sons were more similar to the criminal records of their biological father than their adoptive father. The traits found in people with ASPD have been linked to genetic abnormalities that are associated with functioning in the serotonin system, which is involved with impulsivity and aggression. Those with ASPD tend to show deficits in verbal skills and in executive functions of the brain. Examples of executive functions are abstract reasoning, concept and goal formation, and the ability to shift from maladaptive patterns of behavior to more adaptive ones. Studies have shown that antisocial adults and the general population have differences in the prefrontal cortex of the brain. Those with ASPD have been shown to have decreased volume of gray matter in the prefrontal cortex, decreased volume and activity in the amygdala, and increased volume and activity in the striatum. ASPD has been linked to having a rough childhood. Also, children that engage in antisocial behaviors and are rewarded for them are more likely to have antisocial personalities than children who are not rewarded for the antisocial behavior. Now on to Guts. It's difficult to determine a decreased volume in the prefrontal cortex of Guts. However, due to his childhood of being raised in a mercenary group, it's likely that Guts frequently engaged in antisocial behaviors and was likely rewarded for it. Guts' adopted father, Gambino, frequently beat Guts and verbally berated him, and even sold Guts' body, so he definitely had a rough childhood. Guts' biological father was also a mercenary, so it's likely that his biological father was engaged in antisocial behaviors. The DSM-5 outlines the diagnostic criteria for ASPD as follows: a pervasive pattern of disregard and violation of the rights of others, occurring since age 15 as indicated by 3 or more of the following: failure to conform to social norms with respect to lawful behaviors as indicated by repeatedly performing acts that are grounds for arrest, deceitfulness as indicated by repeated lying, uses of aliases or conning others for personal profit or pleasure, impulsivity or failure to plan ahead, irritability and aggressiveness, as indicated by repeated physical fights or assaults, reckless disregard for safety of self or others, consistent irresponsibility, as indicated by repeated failure to sustain consistent work behavior or honor financial obligations, lack of remorse, as indicated by being indifferent to, or rationalizing having hurt, mistreated, or stolen from another. The individual is at least age 18, there's evidence of a conduct disorder with onset before age 15, the occurrence of antisocial behavior is not exclusively during the course of schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. Guts does show some characteristics of ASPD. To get some of the easy things out of the way, Guts is 12 to 15 years old in the beginning of the series, and in the year of Griffith's betrayal at the end of the first season, he was around 17 to 19 years old. After Griffith's betrayal, Guts spent around 2 years hunting down Griffith. So in the second season and onwards, he is around 20 to 22 years old. So Guts is certainly 18 years old after Griffith's betrayal. Guts also shows no characteristics of schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. And Guts shows 3 characteristics of ASPD outlined by the DSM-5. Guts tends to be irritable and very much aggressive. Guts has been fighting as a mercenary since a very young age, and has often said that he only desires to swing his sword. During his time with Griffith's mercenary group, he would often abandon strategy and take on multiple enemies by himself. Even after Griffith's betrayal, Guts can be seen picking fights with random thugs and drunk soldiers. Guts frequently shows a disregard for the safety of himself and sometimes others. This is probably most evident in his own fighting style. Guts frequently takes huge risks when fighting, just to gain a small advantage. For example, in this fight, Guts takes on an axe-swinging man about twice his size. Keep in mind that Guts is about 12 to 15 years old at this time. First, he parries the man's swing, which is risky. If he parries incorrectly, he is undoubtedly dead. Next, he takes a swing at the man, just as the man takes another swing at Guts. However, Guts is too slow and the man lands his swing first, but the swing only grazes Guts' helmet and in fact shatters. If Guts was just a little bit closer and the parry didn't work out, Guts would in fact be dead. In a fight with Griffith, Griffith manages to step on top of Guts' sword, disarming Guts. In a reckless maneuver, Guts bites Griffith's sword and pushes him off of Guts' own sword. If Griffith were fast enough, Guts could have been stabbed or severely hurt. Even though this maneuver worked, Guts didn't walk away unscathed, as he is shown bleeding from the mouth. After Griffith's betrayal, we find Guts hunting demons, and frequently without the help of others. This is extremely dangerous as these demons are huge and very powerful. And keep in mind that Guts is just a mortal man. In another fight, Guts is walking down a road and is approached by an old man and his daughter. The old man offers to give Guts a ride, and Guts turns him down and informs him that he is dangerous. However, the old man eventually convinces Guts to join him. Guts does this with full knowledge of his own curse. He, with full knowledge, puts this poor old man and his young daughter in danger, and he actually gets them killed, which leads to my next point. Guts shows a lack of remorse for loss of human life. After getting the old man and the young girl killed, Puck, his elf fairy friend, in an attempt to rationalize their death, says that their deaths were not his fault. And Guts, with great laughter, agrees. He specifically says, "Only the weak get themselves killed in someone else's battle. If you can't even live your life as you want, you should just die." He shows no remorse for getting the old man and the young girl killed. So, Guts has a very convincing case for ASPD. However, there's one last thing we haven't discussed, and that's the evidence of conduct disorder before age 15. The DSM-5 criteria for conduct disorder describes a pattern of behavior in which basic rights of others or major age-appropriate societal norms or rules are violated. This is probably the most difficult to discern because Guts grew up in a band of mercenaries, and as such the norms and rules are different. Because death and fights are commonplace, it's a bit difficult to determine which behavior violates social norms. However, when Guts goes into battle with Bazuso, the other soldiers/mercenaries remark that Guts is still just a kid. We can assume that at Guts' age, it's not normal to be on the battlefield. We could view this as a potential violation of societal norms. And we know that he's been fighting on battlefields at a young age, even when he was with his adopted father, Gambino. This would mean that he was killing others and frequently engaging in fights since before the age of 15. The DSM-5 also mentions that those with conduct disorders have significant impairment in social, academic, or occupational functioning. It's no doubt that Guts is good at his job as a mercenary, but his ability to form friendships is greatly hindered. After joining the Band of the Hawk, a group of mercenaries, it took him a long time to make friends within the group. And after Griffith's betrayal, Guts had an even harder time communicating and socializing with his group. Guts shows very many characteristics of antisocial personality disorder. However, it's difficult to determine whether or not Guts had a conduct disorder before the age of 15. While he does show characteristics of conduct disorder, he doesn't quite hit every mark. I don't believe that it was the author's intention to write Guts as someone with ASPD. However, there is a character in the anime that acts as a sort of manifestation of Guts' rage and anger. The character seems to be the reason why Guts can sometimes act in anger. It's seen taking over his body and filling Guts' thoughts with anger and feelings of revenge upon Griffith. Obviously, this is extremely unrealistic. It's an interesting way to give the audience a look at ASPD. Due to the frequent flashbacks, I believe the author might have been trying to write Guts as a character with PTSD. However, Guts doesn't frequently avoid stimuli that reminds him of his traumatic experiences. In fact, you could say that due to his overall goal of vengeance upon Griffith, he seeks out the stimuli instead of avoiding it. Because of this, the portrayal of ASPD is somewhat accurate. Guts struggling to form friendships and often acting cold towards others is a good example. His speech of how only the weak die fighting someone else's battles is an overdramatic way to illustrate that Guts has no remorse. There aren't many options for treating ASPD. However, therapy for ASPD focuses on gaining control over anger and impulsive behaviors by learning to recognize triggers and developing alternative coping strategies. This could prove to be difficult given that Guts is extremely motivated by revenge. However, in the latest chapters of the manga, it's revealed that Shirke, a witch, is capable of stopping Guts' bouts of rage through telepathy. It's strange, but perhaps having others ground Guts to help him avoid his violent and impulsive tendencies could help. Lithium and atypical antipsychotics have been used to control impulsive and aggressive behaviors in those with ASPD. Hey guys, thanks for watching my video. There's a lot I left out of my analysis simply because there's so much of it, and actually, a lot of what I left out I felt was a little too shocking, but if you guys like the dark themes and art in Berserk, I highly suggest you check out the manga. Amazon sells them in volumes or collections of chapters. Kentaro Miura's art is so incredible and breathtaking. If you don't like to read the manga, or if you don't like reading manga in general, you can also check out the anime. There's the 97 anime, the 2016 quote-unquote reboot, and the continuation in 2017, as well as the trilogy of movies that cover what happens in the first 14 volumes. Unlike other anime, the Berserk anime stays pretty dang close to the source material, especially in the 2016 reboot. You can follow along with the manga panel by panel, pretty much. But its animation's a little rough, so if you don't like that, maybe stay away from that. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thanks, and bye-bye!